Hi there, and welcome to this step-by-step guide on making the perfect homemade macaroni and cheese. Whether you're cooking for a family dinner or just craving some comfort food, this classic dish is sure to hit the spot. Today, I'll walk you through each step, from preparing the pasta to making a rich, creamy cheese sauce and finishing it off with a crispy breadcrumb topping. Along the way, I'll share some handy tips to ensure your macaroni and cheese turns out perfectly every time. So let's gather our ingredients and get started on making this delicious, crowd-pleasing dish. Alright, let's talk about the ingredients we're using for this delicious macaroni and cheese. First, for the cheese sauce, we'll start with 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter and a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. This will make our roux, which thickens the sauce. We'll then gradually add 3 cups of whole milk and 1 cup of heavy cream to make it rich and creamy. Season it with a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and, if you like, a little ground mustard and smoked paprika for extra flavor. Now for the cheese, we'll use 2 cups of freshly grated sharp cheddar for its classic taste, 1 cup of Gruyere for creaminess, and 1 cup of mozzarella for that stretchy, gooey texture. Freshly grated cheese melts better than pre-shredded. For the pasta, we need 1 pound of elbow macaroni. You can use other shapes if you prefer, but elbows work great. We'll cook these in 4 quarts of boiling water with a tablespoon of salt to season them well. For the topping, we'll mix 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs with 2 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter, a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan, and some fresh parsley if you have it. This will give us a nice crunchy finish on top. And there you have it, all the ingredients for a perfect macaroni and cheese. Alright, let's get started with cooking the pasta for our macaroni and cheese. First, fill a large pot with about 4 quarts of water. Place it on the stove and bring it to a rolling boil. Once it's boiling, add 1 tablespoon of salt to the water. This will help season the pasta as it cooks. Next, add 1 pound of elbow macaroni or your favorite pasta shape to the boiling water. Give it a good stir to prevent the pasta from sticking together. Cook the pasta according to the package instructions. Typically, this will be around 8 to 10 minutes, but make sure to check because we want it just al dente, firm to the bite, since it will cook a bit more in the oven later. While the pasta is cooking, give it an occasional stir. Once it's done, drain the pasta in a colander and shake off any excess water. Set the pasta aside for now. This is a good point to move on to making our cheese sauce. Remember, don't let the pasta sit too long, or it might stick together, so a little olive oil or butter can help if needed. Now it's time to prepare the cheese sauce for our macaroni and cheese. Start by placing a large saucepan over medium heat. Add 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter and let it melt completely. Once the butter is melted, add a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Whisk continuously for about 1 to 2 minutes until the mixture starts bubbling and turns lightly golden. This mixture is called a roux and will help thicken our sauce. Next, gradually whisk in 3 cups of whole milk and 1 cup of heavy cream. Pour it in slowly and keep whisking to make sure no lumps form. Keep stirring as the mixture heats up and starts to thicken. This should take about 3 to 5 minutes. You want the mixture to be smooth and creamy. Now, let's season the sauce. Add 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and if you like, a bit of ground mustard and smoked paprika. These spices add a nice depth of flavor, but they're optional. Once the sauce is well seasoned, reduce the heat to low. Now it's time to add the cheese. Gradually add 2 cups of shredded sharp cheddar, 1 cup of shredded Gruyere, and 1 cup of shredded mozzarella. Stir continuously until all the cheese is melted and the sauce is smooth and creamy. Freshly grated cheese melts much better than pre-shredded cheese, so this will ensure a silky sauce. Now that our cheese sauce is ready and perfectly smooth, it's time to combine it with the pasta. Take the cooked and drained pasta that we set aside earlier and add it directly into the cheese sauce in the saucepan. Use a large spoon or spatula to gently stir the pasta into the sauce. Make sure to mix it well so that every piece of pasta is thoroughly coated with the creamy cheese sauce. This ensures that each bite will be deliciously cheesy. If the sauce seems a bit thick, you can add a splash of milk to loosen it up to your desired consistency. Just stir it in gradually until it reaches the perfect creaminess. This step is quick, but important to make sure the pasta and sauce are well combined before we move on to assembling and baking the macaroni and cheese. Alright, now, let's prepare the delicious topping for our macaroni and cheese. This will give it a nice crunchy finish. In a small bowl, combine 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs are great because they stay crispier than regular breadcrumbs. Next, add 2 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. This will help the breadcrumbs turn golden and crispy when baked. Pour the melted butter over the breadcrumbs and mix it in well. Then add a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Parmesan adds a wonderful savory flavor and helps create a beautiful crust on top of the macaroni and cheese. If you have some fresh parsley, chop up about a tablespoon and add it to the mixture. The parsley is optional, but it adds a nice touch of color and a bit of fresh flavor. Stir everything together until the breadcrumbs are evenly coated with the butter and Parmesan. This mixture will be the perfect crunchy topping for our macaroni and cheese. Now it's time to assemble our macaroni and cheese and get it ready for baking. First, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. While the oven is heating up, take a 9 by 13-inch baking dish and grease it lightly. You can use butter or a non-stick cooking spray to ensure that the macaroni and cheese doesn't stick to the dish. Next, transfer the macaroni and cheese from the saucepan into the greased baking dish. Spread it out evenly so that it fills the dish nicely. Now take the breadcrumb mixture we prepared earlier and sprinkle it evenly over the top of the macaroni and cheese. Make sure to cover the entire surface to get that nice crispy topping on every bite. Once the oven is preheated, place the baking dish in the center of the oven. Bake it for about 20 to 25 minutes. You'll know it's ready when the top is golden brown and the cheese sauce is bubbling around the edges. While it's baking, you can clean up your kitchen or prepare any sides you plan to serve with the macaroni and cheese. Our macaroni and cheese is out of the oven and looking absolutely delicious with that golden crispy topping. Before we dive in, let's let it cool for a few minutes. This will allow the cheese sauce to set slightly, making it easier to serve and ensuring that each scoop is perfectly creamy. Once it's cooled a bit, grab a large spoon or a spatula and serve up generous portions onto plates. The cheese will be gooey and melty, and the crispy breadcrumb topping will add a delightful crunch to each bite. And there you have it. Our homemade macaroni and cheese is ready to be enjoyed. It's perfect as a main dish or a side, and it pairs wonderfully with a fresh salad or some steamed vegetables. Before we wrap up, let me share some helpful tips to ensure your macaroni and cheese turns out absolutely perfect every time. Firstly, when it comes to cheese choices, don't be afraid to mix things up. A combination of cheeses adds depth of flavor and texture. Try using sharp cheddar for its bold flavor, Gruyere for creaminess, and mozzarella for that irresistible stretchiness. Next, avoid pre-shredded cheese if possible. Freshly grated cheese melts much more smoothly and evenly, giving you a creamier sauce. Always taste your cheese sauce before combining it with the pasta. Cheese varies in saltiness, so adjust the seasoning to your taste to ensure a perfectly balanced dish. If your sauce ends up too thick, don't worry. Simply add a splash of milk to achieve the desired consistency. It should coat the back of a spoon but still be pourable. For an extra crispy breadcrumb topping, toast the breadcrumbs in a dry pan over medium heat until golden brown before mixing them with butter and Parmesan. This will add a delightful crunch to every bite. And finally, if you want to get ahead, you can assemble the macaroni and cheese ahead of time, cover it, and refrigerate it for up to a day. Just remember to add an extra 10 minutes to the baking time if you're baking it straight from the fridge. With these tips in mind, you're sure to create a macaroni and cheese masterpiece that will impress everyone at the table. Enjoy your homemade comfort food.